Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're talking about taxes here, and I think sometimes it's helpful to quantify, the universe we're talking about. So I'm wondering if any of you has ever seen or conducted a comprehensive analysis of what the farmers and ranchers of the nation generate in terms of tax revenue. And I'm not talking about just the taxes they pay and their families pay, but also the taxes on all of the economic activity they generate. So taxes from manufacturers, retails of tractors, seeds, soil amendments, insurance, all of these people, the people who process and marketing their crops, all of that economic activity. Has anybody got an eye on what the tax revenue on that economic activity is? Yes, sir.
Mr. Dunn, well, we have not conducted an analysis on that. But we are able to maybe provide you something in writing. We do have estimates of the taxes paid on land and government fees. So we estimated about that the agriculture pays about $15 billion a year, and it will pay in 2017.
Real estate tax?
In real estate taxes and fees.
Okay, so that's a minuscule portion of the taxes that are paid.
Yeah.
By.
But unfortunately, we do not have an estimate on the total revenue, tax revenue from the economic activity of agriculture and the allied sectors.
So as we go forward, we're talking about tax reform here, enthusiastically. I think that it behooves us to understand how much, what's the universe of economic activity that we're affecting. Mm-hmm. Also, I kind of change back to the foresters we touched on briefly, and I thought we were going to address this, but I think it actually didn't. So, the tree farmers actually don't have the ability to deduct or expense the reforestation expenses that they incur as they replant forest after they harvest. And of course, they almost all need to replant after they harvest. Ask your opinion if this seems like a fair deduction, business expense. Anybody, whoever.
The timber taxation, of course, is different from agricultural farming taxation, even to the extent, for example, we may call it a Christmas tree farm. It's still, that comes under a timber taxation set of rules. But you're correct that the reforestation direct costs aren't directly deductible. After the planting, the trees are established, then all of the growing expenses from that point forward are deductible, similar to the growing costs of other farm assets. So, as to the extent of what it should be, I can't speak to that as a policy.
I assure you, our foresters feel like they're farmers. Yes, they don't plant quite as often, or harvest as often, but they think of it like a farm. Mr. Vanderhoven.
They are allowed to deduct $10,000 per year per unique tract. So as a management thing, they could go in and subdivide their tracts and be able to capture that. Anything over $10,000 is amortized over 84 months. So I would argue that they would be able to recover their reforestation expenses within 7 years.
Another tortuous avoidance of tax. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.